Okay, just a quick little video on languages. As languages get older, they become simpler. Um, English, for example, has lost most of its inflections. We no longer have a dual person. We just have singular and plural. European languages in the old days had a dual pronoun, which would work for two people. We don't have that anymore. Like I said, we lost a lot of inflections. Um, then, as languages get older and they become simpler, they also degrade. They become degraded languages. The grammar becomes degraded. It doesn't change for the better. Um, for example, whom. No one says whom anymore. No people don't know when to say whom. So it's basically gone. Okay, I could see that being a simplification, but it's also a degradation. It makes the language less precise. Not so much in. Yeah, I guess you could get away with it in English, but it makes the language really less, a tiny little bit less precise and less elegant. After a while, the people in the streets are just going to be speaking some other language um, that won't be the same as the written language. And we're in a period of decay anyway. The whole country is obviously in a period of decay. You don't need me to tell you that. Um, you can look at the arts, and you can see the one of the symptoms of a failing civilization is debasement of the arts. And if we can just look at country music, for instance, and think back to Johnny Cash and um, Merle Haggard and Hank Williams, that was real country music. What we got today, what they call country music today, is just some pop music with a southern accent. It's really, some people might say it's pathetic compared to Johnny Cash or Waylon Jennings or guys like that. And they might be right. Yeah. So anyway, and another symptom of a failing civilization, and we just got onto this because I'm rambling in this direction, are failed military expeditions. Um, I don't think we've had any failed military. Well, Iraq was pretty much a failed military expedition because George Bush number two had no fucking idea what he was doing. Everything he did was ass backwards. I should probably do a video on that uh, uh, one of these days. But all right. But I started out on languages. Um, English is in a bad place in its history right now. If you want to read what English maybe was at the height of at the height of what I don't know, people's ability to actually use it in intelligent ways, in literary ways. You can look at Edward Gibbon's Decline and Fall of Rome for an example of probably the height of English composition. It may be a little tricky because it basically echoes the height of Latin composition. Latin is one of those languages that has been degraded since the classical age of Latin. Um, it's not even pronounced the same way anymore, except by classical scholars who know how to pronounce it. And languages. So yeah, well, Latin is basically a dead language anyway. But before it died, it got debased. So right now we're here at the, I don't know, maybe the beginning of the debasement, the final debasement of English. I don't know, but it's also, if you want to read something that's slightly less elevated than Gibbon, you can read James Fenimore Cooper's Last of the Mohegans, uh, and you'll see it's basically the same kind of style. Sentences were really long 2,000 years ago, but they've gotten shorter over the centuries. They were still kind of long when Gibbon was writing, but then they got shorter. And if I remember reading something written during the 1840s or the 1860s, something like that, and sentences were even shorter. And if you go today, sentences are totally short. You got short sentences today. Uh, One day I'll have to do a video on the different types of sentences. There's sentence types according to structure and sentence types according to purpose. So that sounds like a fun video. I think I'm going to write that one down. I don't want this one to be too long about languages evolving. All right. So I'll be back in a minute with some other stuff.